Officer Tatum has responded again to DL Hughley, and their disagreement over the Nolan Wells tragedy is becoming increasingly personal. In the latest episode of Uncertain, DL criticized Tatum's coverage of the case and questioned why the teenagers who traveled to Horn Island with Nolan appeared on Tatum's platform. According to Tatum, DL went beyond questioning the interview and made a specific factual claim.
But go back to where DL Hughley said they talked to him and not law enforcement. I want you to go back to that because I want Warren's lawyer, and we'll send it to Warren's lawyer, and we're gonna send it to the world so people can see when these boys start suing these people for lying, not reporting something somebody said. You lied, DL. It's a proven lie, and you better redact this because you just lied on them. The part where he said they talked to Brandon instead of law enforcement. Roll the clip.
This dude right here, the reason that they would speak to him as opposed to law enforcement is because he is a listening ear. He's a sympathetic.
So you're saying, DL, that they didn't talk to law enforcement. You're saying that they said that. You said they. I only interviewed two. So are you saying, DL Hughley, out of your mouth, that they talked to me instead of talking to law enforcement? Is that your position? You better correct it. Because if not, if that's your position, you are lying because they talked to law enforcement before they ever talked to me. I'm engaging with them like 2 weeks after this happened. They already talked to law enforcement. Law enforcement already interviewed 60 people 2 weeks ago, including Warren and a bunch of other boys that did a computer voice stress analysis, which is equivalent of a lie detector test, or equivalent of a polygraph test. Just a polygraph is a little more intrusive, but it's still used by almost every department, modern department around the country to hire everybody that they hire. It's not really admissible in court, but it's used for reasonable suspicion and finding out is somebody being truthful or not. But my dog, they already interviewed these boys.
On this narrow issue, the publicly available timeline appears to support Tatum. Local station WLOX reported on July 16th that the three friends who traveled on the boat with Nolan had been interviewed and that the sheriff's department has spoken to more than 60 witnesses.
We received audio from the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources on Friday related to the Nolan Wells case. That recording, a call made from a teen on a boat at Horn Island on July 4th at around 4 p.m. to a private towing company. Wells traveled out on that boat with friends for the holiday, but he did not return with them.
Tatum's filmed interview with Hudson was published several days later on July the 21st. That does not mean every statement made by the teenagers is correct. It does not prove that investigators handled everything perfectly, and it certainly does not explain how Nolan died. But saying they went to Brandon Tatum before law enforcement appears to be inaccurate. Tatum is now using that mistake to attack DL's entire argument. He says Hughley is driven by emotions, spreading misinformation, and contributing to the harassment being directed at young people connected to the case.
I'm 2 weeks of getting their message to the public, and you on your thing lying. This is why y'all believe they did it, because you don't even know the facts. Last clip, roll it.
And if and when, and somebody's going to have done something, if and when, and now I understand that the family, Nolan Wells' family, is serving his friends notices. I will tell you this: if and when we find out that somebody was involved or somebody knew about it, they should sue not only them, but they should sue Brandon Tatum too. You inserted yourself in that. You want to bite of this? Why don't you take your part? Right. I guarantee you should have a part of it, because that's what happens. You wanted to be an influencer, okay? Play that game. You wanted to. I have never, like the one thing, and I'll leave it here, because he said, you can't make me hate white people. I would never want you to hate anybody. I'm not asking you to hate white people. I'm asking you, who made you hate us?
Us. I love my mama. Ask my mama, do I love my mama? Do I love my daddy? I just got my daddy at a suite in Vegas. He had a really good time with my stepmama in Vegas doing their thing for my father's birthday. I talk to my daddy at least every week. My mama lived with us. Not in our house, but she lived out in Arizona with us. I take care of my mama, don't have to worry about nothing. That's a black woman. Are y'all mad at me? My uncles didn't agree with me.
People named in connection with the investigation have reportedly received threats and been targeted online. The family of one person mentioned in newly released boat audio said they had already sent a cease and desist letter over allegedly defamatory statements and intended to send more.
Just hours ago, a cease and desist was sent to a content creator by the family of Bart Edmiston Jr., who was also on the island on the 4th. It accuses the creator of making, quote, numerous false and defamatory statements about Edmiston on social media. The family's attorney says those posts have led to death threats, which have been reported to authorities, including the FBI. The Wells family has also posted about threats they've received since their son's death. The FBI confirms to WLOX it's looking through those threats. Wells' parents are now demanding records from social media, location sharing, and messaging apps on Nolan's phone. Subpoenas went out Tuesday, giving those companies 21 days to return the data over to the family's lawyers.
No lawsuit against DL has been publicly announced. Tatum appears to be warning him about what could happen rather than confirming that a case has actually been filed. But DL is not backing down. He has continued posting about Tatum on Instagram, moving beyond the details of the Nolan Wells case and attacking Tatum's broader relationship with Black history and conservative politics. In one recent post, DL shared criticism accusing Tatum of historical ignorance and shameless bootlicking after old footage resurfaced of Tatum discussing Rosa Parks.
There is this idea when you think about Rosa Parks and what she did, and everybody thinks she's so heroic. And I used to appreciate what she did and others did until I started researching and finding out the truth. Do you know Rosa Parks and them had a car? Why did they stage that incident instead of it being a genuine incident where white people were discriminated against blacks? They staged it.
There's a small piece of historical truth buried underneath Tatum's argument. Rosa Parks was an experienced activist, not simply a tired woman who accidentally started a movement. She had attended civil rights training, and the Montgomery NAACP had been searching for a suitable case to challenge boss segregation. But that does not mean the discrimination was invented or that Parks' actions were fake. She genuinely refused an order to surrender her seat under a racist segregation system and was genuinely arrested. Civil rights leaders then strategically built a campaign around her case. Planning an effective protest does not make the injustice being protested imaginary. And the fact of the matter is, even if the whole incident was staged, there's nothing wrong with representing your people. Brandon Tatum was essentially saying that Rosa Parks, she had other forms of transport. She had a vehicle. There was no need for her to even be on the bus. But the reality is, back then, there were many working class Black Americans who were taking the bus to go to and fro work and whatnot. So clearly, Rosa Parks was representing a proportion of people that were not being represented. There's nothing wrong with being an advocate for your fellow, human being, regardless of race. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. At one point in time, I used to work in social care. Those of you who have worked in that sector, you guys know a lot of the times you're going to have to represent an individual who might have autism or who might have a severe, a mental disability or physical disability, because clearly they're going to struggle to represent themselves and actually get the proper care they need. So you as an advocate, you're going to represent them and you're going to speak for them. Rosa Parks was advocating for individuals who clearly didn't have the means to, advocate for themselves. DL sees Tatum as a black conservative who automatically defends white people and law enforcement. Tatum sees DL as a race-baiting entertainer willing to ignore facts whenever a tragedy involves a black victim. Both descriptions are designed to dismiss the person rather than deal with the strongest part of his argument. Tatum's strongest point is that the public should not accuse Nolan's friends of murder without evidence. Their cooperation with investigators happened before his interview, and DL should correct that part of his commentary. But Tatum also appears far too confident in presenting the teenagers' accounts as if they settle the entire matter. They do not. Nolan Wells traveled to Horn Island on July 4th and did not return with the group. His phone and keys returned without him, and his body was found 2 days later. An independent autopsy could not determine the cause of death or rule out non-accidental factors. The official autopsy has been completed but remains unavailable publicly while the evidence awaits grand jury review.
Brandon Tatum is welcome in Mississippi when Ben Crump and Al Sharpton are not, for the exact same reason that Stephen A. Smith is welcome at ESPN and Ryan Clark are not. Is not.
I'm welcome in Mississippi by who? I just talked to boys and got out of there. Benjamin Crump spent the week there and did a press conference there. Who said he wasn't welcome? Who told him he couldn't be there? The governor didn't say he couldn't be there. The prosecutors didn't say he couldn't be there. They just said he had came and pushed racism and division in the community and left. You're just making this up, DL.
DL's strongest point is that Nolan's family deserves answers and that the contradictions surrounding his final hours should be examined properly. His weak point is allowing justified suspicion to become certainty before the investigation is complete, and then making factual claims that Tatum can easily disprove. The result is that a serious unresolved death is becoming another online personality feud. Tatum is talking about lawsuits, DL is posting insults, their audiences are choosing teams. Meanwhile, the most important question remains exactly where it was before either man entered the argument. What exactly happened to Nolan Wells?